Hey, I'm Danny Boyd. I'm always fascinated by what goes into the editing of a film, how 1,000 disparate shots are ordered and presented, what makes it, what doesn't, and the impact the length of a shot or the addition or ditching of one can have on our experience of a movie. Now, I've talked about Constantine before, specifically how carefully it grounds its supernatural reality and how it subverts our usual expectations of exposition within a genre film of its kind.
I'd like to ask you a few questions, if that'd be okay.
I'm not really in the talking mood right now.
But equally worth looking at, to me, is the way this film took control of its own pace and rhythm after shooting was done. An exercise in editing and storytelling made all the more impressive considering Constantine was the fruit of a first-time feature film director whose major cinematic contributions up until that point were music videos.
A little flavor?
The thing about when making a movie that I found is that you go through such severe ups and downs. I like it, it's okay. Oh, it was all right. And that was actually one of the biggest sort of eye-openers for me because music videos go by so quickly, and they're on the air and off the air and sort of forgotten. And it's fine and it's fun and you can learn and you can tell little stories, but you're also always sort of ruled by the song, by the tempo, the pace, the tone, the energy of that song. And, for me, the feature film was free.
Or is it another one of your cons? Look for yourself.
We've all heard it. A film is made 3 times, in the script, in the shoot, and in the edit. And in each instance, the freedom to make changes, to control the presentation of a story and its characters, remains shockingly vast. This very noir character shot of Constantine in his apartment was a moment constructed entirely in the edit. Director Francis Lawrence and his editor Wayne Warman pulled it from this much later scene, right between shots of Keanu putting on a record and his friend Beeman arriving at his door, and repositioned it to be earlier in the film to help establish a theme of isolation, of the lone hero, a thing we'll see reinforced even more through editing in just a moment. Or, in a somewhat inverted case, there's this scene of the priest going through the newspapers, originally shot as 2 separate scenes but pared down in the edit to help better push along the first act of the movie. But editing isn't just about where in the greater whole you place your shots. It's also about how 2 shots connect with each other, either within a sequence or across scenes. That earlier shot of Keanu looking up was originally designed to be motivated by the subsequent shot of Beeman showing up at his apartment. But after it was replaced, his gesture with a new context would take on a new meaning, drawing a subliminal link between Constantine and the introduction of Angela, our other protagonist, in the now subsequent shot in the confessional.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
This off-screen connection between our characters before they meet actually becomes a very subtle but deliberate motif throughout the opening bit of the film, with Constantine's scenes often being forced left to right and Angela's right to left, until, finally, their paths converge, physically for the first time, at the elevator.
Hold the door. You going down?
Not if I can help it.
Adding yet another layer to the mix, though, those scene-to-scene connections can be even further enforced using sound. Listen to the way the cat's meows in this scene are synced with Keanu's coughs following it. But of course, editors and directors don't just edit things together. They edit things out. Sometimes scenes are cut for logic. This late scene in the hospital was shortened significantly because of simultaneous events going on in the other room, Angela being drowned. If 2 scenes are happening concurrently and one of them has a time limit, that matters. or a scene might be cut down because it simply shows us something we don't need to see. There are a couple instances of this. I talked about the bathtub scene in my other video, but a particularly great example of good cutting out is in this scene here, of Angela watching the tape of her sister. Subsequent shots originally showed her looking up who Constantine is and tracking him down, but they were cut since A, she already had enough information to go on from earlier, and B, therefore, they were at this point just serving as needless exposition for the audience anyway. Plus, cutting those shots out meant cutting this final shot out, which meant getting to end the scene like this. So sometimes cutting things down just makes for a greater scene, while other times scenes are cut for pacing even though they're great. I particularly like this deleted sequence of Angela watching the tapes another time before her sister's hand comes up and rests on her shoulder to comfort her when, in fact, there's no one really there. But maybe the most significant cuts to any film are ones that cut out entire characters or story threads. In the original vision of Constantine, after our character learns he's got lung cancer, we would transition to this scene in a hotel room with Michelle Monaghan.
Nothing out of the ordinary in my day-to-day.
The scene was taken out because Francis Lawrence thought it made the character of Constantine seem less lonely, a trait, as we saw accentuated with that cigarette scene, he wanted to make sure was pushed to the forefront of the film. But cutting Monaghan's introductory scene had a knock-on effect, forcing her out of other scenes as well, like the club, the hospital at the end.
This was your plan?
Until all that remained was a single close-up and line of dialogue.
Holy water?
The decision to put emphasis on Constantine's isolation, though, to control that perception of his character through editing, affected the film's ending as well. The movie originally closed on a cemetery sequence with Constantine and Angela together, but Francis Lawrence decided he wanted the film to end on Constantine by himself. So he finished it here on the rooftop and stuck the cemetery scene in a post-credits tag, cutting Angela's shots out of it entirely.
I think also, in the same category, once filming had stopped, was seeing how much you can truly change a movie through editing.
Hey, partway through that line, cut to his POV.
In videos and commercials, you're dealing with such a small project that, editing is somehow more about design than it is about real structure. Because, there's only so many things you can do, and everything's so dictated by the song or the 30 seconds that the editing choices you make don't have quite the same impact as it is on a movie. The idea of what it does to the movie when you pull one scene out or add the scene back in. What it does as a ripple effect through the whole thing. That was just a fantastic learning experience for me.
As I mentioned last time, Constantine as a movie is fairly minimalist. In addition to all that was cut in post-production, some of the film's biggest action sequences were also cut prior to production for budget, including a big car chase in place of the office breakout, and a whole Turkish prison escape set piece in place of the intro. And ultimately, I think Constantine is all the more understated and confident for it. The film utilizes a very neat script, exceptionally committed performances, and the power of the edit to fashion a good balance of character, action, and information. A huge part of why I think, differences from its source material aside, Constantine has become such a cult hit in the years since its release. That, and, well, it's got one of the greatest on-screen depictions of the devil in any film ever.
So I've heard. When you cut too deep, you cut the tendon. Finger movement goes out the window. Let me help you.
And also Gabriel.
You're fucked.
As always, I'm Danny Boyd. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody, thank you so much again. I've got brand new member perks over on my Patreon, including access to cut content and a members only Discord. If you have the means to make a pledge and to support the channel, please do consider going to patreon.com/CinemaStix. As you know, it's just me behind the scenes, and your help really does go a very, very long way. Thank you again. Until next time.